I, like many other Victorians, have been a little bit depressed lately.
Would you say it's time for our viewers to crack each other's heads open and feast on the goo inside? Yes, I would, Ken.
Thankfully, I've had a brilliant distraction. Celeste is one of those indie darlings that is more than a game. It is a story about climbing a mountain, metaphorically and physically. It's about overcoming one's own limitations and coming to grips with fear, self, and our sometimes checkered pasts. The narrative is so self-aware, you just know that the devs have been through much of what the game's language speaks of. This concept was originally made for a game jam in 2016 for the unique Pico 8 Virtual Console. It was so popular that director Matty Thorson decided it needed to be a fully fledged title. At its core, Celeste is an intense platform game in a similar mold to Super Meat Boy. Hardcore, precision platforming is the order of the day, and the challenge will feel insurmountable to some. Maddie's moveset is simple. She runs, jumps and dashes her way through 7 worlds of platforming madness. She can climb and wall jump, but her grip gives out after a while. Her dash mechanic is essential, and while it can be performed in almost any direction, it can only be used once before landing to recharge. There are several power-ups that can assist with this, including green crystals that restore the dash counter, or golden feathers that allow a brief moment of controlled flight. The mechanics and level design complement the controls perfectly. This is a very well-crafted experience. There are moments where everything around you melts away and you become one with the controls. It makes you feel like you're the ultimate platforming god. Level design is beautifully crafted, filled with unique gimmicks that play on Maddie's moveset. I hate the windy sections though. They remind me of Ninja Gaiden. There are sometimes multiple routes through a stage, and after completing them they can be returned to from a world map. Stages feature collectibles like strawberries and crystal hearts, which are hidden all over the place, usually behind optional platforming challenges. You'll want to collect as many as possible because they can affect the game's ending. There are also rare cassette tapes to collect, which unlock harder versions of stages in a similar way to Crash Bandicoot 4. These are intensely difficult, and in a game about mental health, has actually made mine deteriorate. The Mountain of Celeste is a mysterious place, with dangerous terrain claiming many a lost soul. It has ruined cityscapes, strange castles, caves and waterfalls. What happened on this mountain in the past? And why does it feel alive? There aren't really any enemies to speak of either. Most of the game's challenge comes from platforming geography, which is honestly refreshing. The beautiful pixel art encapsulates that late 80s home computer aesthetic. I really love the campfire scenes. Stars sparkle in the night sky, the fire crackles away casting shadows about the place, while the northern lights stretch across the mysterious night sky. It makes use of meticulously drawn sprites that are adorable, even if they have no eyes. Music and sound are of a very high quality, featuring amazing piano and acoustic sessions that harken back to the epic soundtracks of old. Composer Lena Raine has produced an amazingly ambient and sweeping score for this title. It's some of the best I've heard on any modern platform so far. Not only is the gameplay to die for, but so is the story. Little Maddie feels like a real person, dealing with the ups and downs of extreme depression and anxiety, which sometimes results in panic attacks. She feels the urge to climb the Mountain of Celeste, to prove to herself she can overcome her own weakness. Along the way, she meets people who seem to be tied to the mountain for various reasons. Maddie must overcome her uncertainty and gain control of herself. Not an easy thing to do when the mind is constantly trying to shut itself down rather than help. Maybe she should try to start a YouTube channel. Honestly, Celeste is a triumph, an utterly rewarding and essential experience for any retro gamer. I can't stress enough how important these smaller indie titles are to the medium of gaming as a whole. Smaller in scale, not in heart or quality. These beautifully crafted gaming experiences are full of charm and not homogenized by huge production teams and insane budgets. They harken back to a simpler time and are usually a much more personal experience. Here, we can get down to the nitty-gritty of what made this medium great in the first place. creative pioneers working within major limitation with a vision to create the best experience they could from what little they had. That's why years later, you can still feel the heart and love that went into them. These new indie titles feel like the second coming, another chance at that golden age of gaming. We've got to support them in any way we can.